This is reposted.
I came across this video on YouTube that I thought was really interesting about how Red Bull started. I always kind of joke that Red Bull is just a marketing company. No one buys their drinks, but it's really interesting. And we found this cool quote from the founder of Red Bull, Dietrich Mateschitz. He said, "If we
Oh,
don't create the market, it doesn't exist." He had this idea. He found this energy drink in Thailand, brought it to a bunch of Western investors, and they're like, no, there's not a market for that. No one in the West is going to buy it. The company is worth like $50 billion today. He fell in 1987. So like, I like this idea of even if it doesn't, even if there's not a market for it, you can create it. Like just make something.
real quickly, how do you say his name again?
Dietrich Mateschitz.
Okay, Mateschitz. I didn't know that's what it was. Mateschitz. Um, I
He's
mean,
Austrian, man.
I like this idea of him sitting around like nobody will buy a energy drink, just like Howard Schultz from Starbucks. Like nobody's gonna buy coffee around the country. If you've seen the McDonald's documentary, those guys, the cock, it wasn't cock, but he was the C. He's like nobody's gonna buy fast food hamburgers. Gerald Ford, or Henry Ford. Nobody's gonna buy cars.
Gerald
Like
Ford tragically died.
somebody has to have this idea, and then most people think it's stupid. But eventually, you got to go the other way and prove that the world's not flat.
I think you're right. Most of the time, any new concept is going to be stupid. I remember the internet was such a novel idea, and then Al Gore went and invented it for us. I mean, I think maybe the takeaway from entrepreneurs is having the bravery to not listen to how stupid things are. I remember the first time I heard the concept of Uber. I was like, that's dumb. Who's going to do that? It originally started with they got like limo services to take advantage of their unused town cars, and now Uber is like a verb instead of a taxi.
Like if you tell somebody in the 80s, like, yeah, hey man, you can make some extra money letting people sleep in your extra bedroom, to be like, that's disgusting. Airbnb.
Yeah, I guess it's necessity is the mother of all invention.
You know why I love this Red Bull? Thank you for this quote today, because I just think this story is fascinating. Dietrich Auschwitz, whatever. Mateschitz. Here's what the thing about Red Bull: it commonly loses in taste tests. Like it's like some people think it's too sweet, some people it's sour. It's like regularly like blind taste tests, it loses all the time.
Yeah.
All of the ingredients for Red Bull are on the can. So it doesn't taste good. Everybody knows what the product is. There's all sorts of copies, yet it has like 80% of the market share in 100 countries. It's like he just knows who drinks it and went out and marketed to those people.
Well, yeah, it was also interesting. They broke the mold on how it works, where like Coca-Cola owns their distribution. They have the vault for the secret. Everything, they don't manufacture or can anything. They focus, the company Red Bull focuses all their attention on marketing. They did clever things like having brand ambassadors in college being like, hey, we're going to pay you. You're a cool guy. We're going to pay you to host parties and only have Red Bull at them. And they also own 4 different soccer clubs, which I thought was an interesting strategy on how they use their different soccer clubs around the world to cultivate talents. Like you might start in Brazil and then move up to Austria and then be in the Premier League and then finish out with the New York Bulls in Major League Soccer. It's like he figured out such a cool way to do this. And I think it's inspiring to say that you can figure stuff out just because people haven't necessarily done it before.
Just to piggyback on your sports thing you were talking about, this is what Auschwitz said. We don't bring the product to the consumer. We bring the consumers to the product. So he hosts these sporting events, and that's where all his people are. It's like, it's like Reed Hastings saying, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to ship everybody DVDs in the mail. And everybody's like, come on, who's going to, boom. Like it really seems genius afterwards.
Yeah. It's very easy to look at a guy that's worth $27 billion today and say, hey, you did a good job. But I think maybe we can say people don't know what they want. It's kind of like popular radio. If you get fed a song enough, you're going to like it. And you're like, hey, I remember that song. That's nice. And like Red Bull is always in front of you. You think about it. And maybe the lesson is go start a company because people don't know what they want. And if you tell them what they want, they'll buy it.
Well, and also too, like how many people give up on a good idea? Mateschitz.
Mateschitz.
he was like getting killed. He was losing all this money in England before he started your program. He started paying kids to promote the product. He's about ready to go under. How many great ideas have there been for businesses or whatever, and people give up? It's the ones that sort of stick it out and see it through that also have the foresight at the end to be like, yep, look, we made it.
Yeah, hindsight's always 2020. I'm always inspired by the stories of people that like almost, they're like, this was their last audition.
Yeah.
They took out their life savings, but maybe there's a lot more people that failed and you just don't hear about it.
Here's how I would like to wrap with this, because I just think this is a great story, Red Bull. Like when people are zinging, you should be zanging. Like pokers. Is that right? Zinging and zanging? Oh, I know this is going to end up as a soundbite now. You know, I read Doyle Brunson's book, Famous Poker Players. Like when the table is tight, you play loose. Yeah. When the table's loose, you play tight. You do what the opposite of what are people telling you to do or what's going on. I would say the greatest example, not the greatest, but a good example, is the Reposted podcast. Podcasts are like 2 hours long. Ours is 6.
6 hours.
6 minutes.
Or I think maybe a more apt example is Spy vs. Spy. One spy's black, one spy's white.
Oh, boy. Oh, boy.
If you want to zang, please reach out. You can find us at Reposted Podcast on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. I'm Andrew Keller for Alfred E. Newman saying thanks for stopping by.